It begins with a notification. Maybe it's a DM on Instagram, a sudden friend request on Facebook, or perhaps a catch-up coffee with an old colleague you haven't seen in a decade. Her name is Rachel. Cool. She's 42. You remember Rachel? 20 years ago. She was the center of gravity in every room. She was vibrant, chaos wrapped in a sundress. She dated the drummer, the club promoter, the guy with the motorcycle, and no credit score. Back then, you were Mark, the nice guy, the guy who helped her move apartments, the guy she called when she was crying over the drummer, the guy she explicitly told, "You're such a great friend. I wish I could find a guy like you. Just not you." You were invisible. You were the background noise to the movie of her life, but now something has shifted. Suddenly, Rachel is laughing at your jokes. She's asking about your job, she compliments your stability. She tells you that she's tired of games and just wants a real man. And you feel it, that spike of validation, the ego boost. You think, finally, she sees me, she realized I was the prize all along. Stop. Kill that thought immediately. It is a lie. This is not an epiphany. This is not a rom-com ending where the protagonist realizes her true love was right in front of her the whole time. This is a rescue mission. And you are not the hero, you are the lifeboat. We need to look at this through the lens of evolutionary psychology and cold, hard market dynamics. The sudden interest from women over 40 towards average, stable men is not driven by a sudden spike in sexual desire. It is driven by fear. It is driven by the realization that the sexual marketplace is a cruel, depreciating asset class for women, while for men, it works differently. Rachel didn't wake up and decide she suddenly craves your personality. She woke up, looked at the calendar, looked at her empty apartment, and realized that her strategy had to change. She is pivoting from a strategy of genetic selection chasing the alpha for excitement and DNA to a strategy of resource security chasing the beta for provision and safety. If you do not understand the mechanics under the hood of this interaction, you're walking into a trap. You're about to sign a contract where you provide everything and receive duty, not desire, duty. In this video, we are going to dismantle the psychology of the post-war pivot. We will dissect why she is here, why it's happening now, and why being Plan B is the most dangerous position a man can occupy. Let's look at the data. To understand why Rachel is smiling at you today, you must understand who she was yesterday. Let's rewind the tape. From age 18 to 32, Rachel lived in a different reality. This was her prime sexual marketplace value era. In this window, the world was an open buffet. She didn't want safety then. She didn't want a 401k match. She didn't want a guy who remembered to call his mother on Sundays. She wanted the fire. She dated the DJ who cheated on her. She chased the fitness instructor who made her feel insecure. She obsessed over the bad boy who would disappear for 3 days and return with a smile, sending her dopamine levels crashing and spiking like a volatile stock market. Psychologically, I'd say this is crucial. She wasn't just dating, she was conditioning her neurochemistries. She became addicted to intermittent reinforcement. In behavioral psychology, this is the most powerful form of conditioning. When the reward affection, attention is unpredictable. The addiction to the source becomes unbreakable. The anxiety of will he call, followed by the relief when he does, creates a chemical bond far stronger than anything a stable, predictable man can offer. Chaos became her baseline for love. Now, introduce the concept of the alpha widow. This is a term often misused. But here is the clinical reality. A woman is evolutionarily wired to imprint on the highest value male she has ever been able to secure sexually. Let's say at 25 she spent 6 months with a man we'll call the apex. He was 6'2", rich, charismatic, dominant, and sexually skilled. He was out of her league for a long-term commitment, but he spun plates, and she was one of them. To him, she was a Tuesday night. To her, he was the benchmark. He set the standard. He set the bar for what arousal feels like. When that relationship ended, usually because he moved on, Rachel didn't just lose a boyfriend, she became a widow to that experience. Every man she meets afterward is subconsciously compared to the apex. And here is the brutal truth for Mark the average, stable and decent man. You cannot compete with a ghost. The ghost of her past is perfect. He doesn't have morning breath, he doesn't have back pain, he doesn't worry about the mortgage, he's just a memory of peak sexual excitement. So, When Rachel hits 40, she carries this baggage. She has spent 2 decades riding the carousel of high dopamine relationships. Her ability to bond, technically known as pair bonding, has been damaged. It's like using a piece of tape over and over again. The first time, it sticks perfectly. The 10th time, it barely holds on. Now, she looks at Mark. Mark is reliable. Mark is kind. Mark is average. She tries to convince herself that this is what she wants. She tells her friends, "I'm done with toxic guys. I just want someone nice." She believes she's telling the truth, but her biology disagrees. When she looks at Mark, she doesn't feel that spike of adrenaline. She doesn't feel the butterflies, which are actually just anxiety signals. She feels nothing. She feels safety. But in the context of evolutionary desire, safety is the opposite of arousal. Safety is for raising offspring. Safety is for survival. Safety is boring. The tragedy of the Rachel archetype is that she is trying to force a logical solution onto a biological problem. She is trying to use her prefrontal cortex logic to override her limbic system desire. She is thinking Mark makes sense. Mark is a good decision on paper. But genuine desire is not a decision. As the red pill maxim goes, negotiated desire is not desire. If she has to talk herself into being with you, if she has to learn to love you, you have already lost. You are not the object of her lust. You are the solution to her logistical problem. She isn't looking at you with hungry eyes. She's looking at you like a tired swimmer looks at a floating log. She doesn't love the log. She just doesn't want to drown. This is the psychological state of the modern woman entering the dating market post-40. She is dopamine desensitized, emotionally scarred by alpha ghosts, and terrified of the future. And that terror brings us to the next phase, the biological reality check that forces her hand. Now, let's strip away the social narratives and look at the biology. We live in a society that tells women 40 is the new 20. It tells them that they are like fine wine getting better with age. That is a pleasant social fiction. Biology is a fascist. It does not care about feelings, it cares about reproduction. For Rachel, hitting 40 is not just a birthday, it is a collision with the wall. In the sexual marketplace, value is derived from reproductive viability, whether we admit it or not. The male brain is hardwired over millions of years to scan for signs of fertility, clear skin, waist-to-hip ratio, youth, energy. These are not arbitrary beauty standards. They are biological markers of healthy eggs. When Rachel was 25, she had an abundance of this value. She was the buyer in the market. She held the leverage. But at 40, the leverage is gone. Her estrogen levels are dropping. Her fertility is mathematically near zero. The collagen is fading. And for the first time in her life, she walks into a bar and realizes the heads aren't turning. The eyes of the high-status men, the alphas she used to date, are looking right past her. They are looking at the 23-year-old intern. Invisibility is the greatest fear of the modern woman. This triggers a primal panic. This is the epiphany phase. Evolutionary psychology explains this through the dual mating strategy. Women have evolved 2 distinct drives. 1, the good genes drive. When fertile, seek the best DNA, dominance, risk-taking, symmetry, the alpha bad boy. 2, the good provider. Drive. When vulnerable, pregnant, raising offspring are aging, seek the best security, resources, stability, protection, the beta nice guy. For 15 years, Rachel prioritized drive number 1. She bet on good genes, she had her fun. But now, Mother Nature has flipped the switch. Drive number 2 is screaming. She needs resources, she needs a nest, she needs a buffer against the harsh reality of aging alone. This is where Mark enters the equation. Mark, the average man, has likely followed a different trajectory. While Rachel's sexual market value SMV was peaking at 23 and is now declining, Mark's SMV started low and has been slowly climbing. He has spent his 20s and 30s building his career. He has accumulated assets. He has become competent. He is more stoic now. He is entering his prime earning years. The graph lines have crossed. Rachel isn't suddenly attracted to Mark's kindness. She is attracted to his survivability. She looks at Mark and sees a resource extraction opportunity. This sounds cold. It sounds transactional. Because it is. It is a covert contract. She offers her companionship, which is rapidly depreciating in market value in exchange for his lifestyle, his home, and his protection, which are appreciating. She frames this shift as maturity. She says, I've grown up, I realize what's important now. Translation: I can no longer afford the price of admission for the alpha males, so I am entering the market where I can still be competitive. She is settling, and understand this, settling is not a compliment. Not. It means you are not the first choice. You are not the second choice. You are the safety net caught when the tightrope snapped. Most men starved for attention. Take this settling as a win. They think they have finally earned her. They haven't earned her desire. They have simply become the lowest bidder for her security. She is changing the rules of the game because she can no longer win playing by the old ones. Let's talk business, because that's exactly what this is. When the biological fires of youth burn out, relationships cease to be about burning passion. They become about risk management and asset allocation. Rachel is no longer operating on the currency of lust. She is operating on the currency of comfort. In her 20s, she prioritized extravagance, the thrill, the ride. In her 40s, she prioritizes infrastructure, the house, the healthcare, the retirement plan. She looks at her life. She sees her friends getting divorced, struggling to pay rent in a fluctuating economy. She sees the loneliness of a cat-filled apartment. She does a cost-benefit analysis. And Mark is the ultimate safe haven asset. Mark is gold in a recession. He isn't exciting. He doesn't fluctuate wildly, but he holds value. This is where the economics of settling kicks in. Rachel convinces herself that she loves Mark, but look closely at how she describes him. She doesn't say, I can't keep my hands off him. She doesn't say, he just drives me crazy. She says, he's so good to me. He treats me like a queen. He's stable. Notice the difference. She's describing what he does for her, not who he is to her. She loves the provision, not the provider. This is a transactional relationship disguised as romance. She is trading her presence, her company, for his security. But here is the scam. Mark is paying full price for a depreciated asset. Mark thinks he's getting the prize. He thinks he is finally getting the girl he dreamt of in high school. He imagines a life of passion, intimacy, and gratitude. He is wrong. He is getting the burnt-out version of Rachel. She is tired. She has given her best years, her best energy, and her highest enthusiasm to the men from her past. The men who didn't have to pay for dinner. The men who didn't have to wait for the alpha. She broke rules for Mark. She makes rules. I'm too tired tonight. Let's just cuddle. We don't need to do that anymore. We're grown-ups. She brings her baggage, her trauma, and her cynicism into Mark's house, and she expects Mark to unpack it. This is the asymmetry of desire. Mark's desire for her is genuine and likely high, since he's been starved of it. Rachel's desire for Mark is negotiated. It is a rational negotiation. She has reasoned her way into the relationship. Genuine desire cannot be negotiated. You cannot talk a woman into being attracted to you. It happens in the limbic system, instantaneously. Settling is a logical process. It happens in the prefrontal cortex. It requires effort, and because it requires effort, it breeds resentment, deep down, subconsciously. Rachel resents Mark. She resents that she needs him. She resents that she couldn't lock down the alpha. She resents that she has to settle for the safe option. And Mark? He will spend the rest of the relationship confused. He will wonder why he does everything right, buys the gifts, listens to the stories, fixes the car but still feels like a roommate. He is feeding coins into a vending machine that is out of stock. He is providing the lifestyle of a husband, but receiving the intimacy of a distant cousin. This is the economics of the modern average man victory. It's a Pyrrhic victory. You won the war, but the land you conquered is scorched earth. If you are Mark, you might be thinking, so what, she's settling, I get that, but I still get the girl, or I still get a wife, or a companion, maybe a family. Isn't that better than being alone? This is the most dangerous rationalization a man can make. You're not just getting the girl. You are walking into a minefield with a blindfold on. In the red pill praxeology, this scenario is known as the Betabux phase of the dual mating strategy. Alpha fucks, the phase where she prioritizes sexual attraction. Betabux, the phase where she prioritizes financial extraction. By accepting Rachel now, you are willingly stepping into the Betabux role. And the dangers lurking here are not just emotional, they are financial, psychological, and existential. Let's break down the 3 specific traps waiting for you. 1. The dead bedroom. The aversion mechanism. The first casualty of a settled relationship is always intimacy. Remember, Rachel is not chemically attracted to you. She is logically attracted to your safety. Logic does not create moisture. Logic does not create erections. In the beginning, during the honeymoon phase, or more accurately, the bait and switch phase, she will perform, she knows the deal, she knows she needs to secure the commitment. So, the sex will be frequent enough, it will be enthusiastic enough. But once the contract is signed, once the ring is on, or the mortgage is shared, the mask slips. Biology takes over. Since she lacks genuine burning desire, lust, having sex with you becomes a chore. It becomes duty sex. And here is the dark secret of female psychology. Women develop a visceral repulsion to men they are not sexually attracted to, but feel obligated to service. Every time she sleeps with you out of duty, her body registers it as a violation of her biological imperative. She isn't doing it because she wants you. She's doing it to pay the rent. Over time, this creates the ick. She will start finding excuses. I have a headache. I'm stressed with work. You're putting too much pressure on me. The bedroom dies. You become roommates. You become a monk in your own home, financing a woman who treats you like an annoying younger brother she has to babysit. 2. The silent resentment. You would think she would be grateful. After all, you saved her from a lonely future. You provided the lifestyle she couldn't sustain on her own. Wrong, she will resent you for it. This is counterintuitive, but profound. Deep down, Rachel knows she's settled. She knows she compromised. Every time she looks at you, she is reminded of the fact that she couldn't keep the alpha. You are the living, breathing symbol of her sexual market failure. She doesn't respect you because she feels she owns you. She knows she didn't have to work hard to get you. You were the easy option. This manifests as subtle disrespect. She nitpicks your habits. She compares you to her friend's husband. She undermines your authority in front of others. She prioritizes her cat, her job, or her friends over you. You become the utility man. You are there to kill the spiders, pay the bills, and drive the car, or you are an appliance. And nobody loves a toaster. They just get mad when it stops working. 3. The divorce industry complex. This is the nuclear bomb. If you marry Rachel under these conditions, you are betting half your net worth on a woman who is biologically lukewarm about you. Statistics paint a bloody picture. Women initiate nearly 70% of all divorces. In the college-educated demographic, the Rachels of the world, that number spikes to nearly 90%. Why? Because once the safety is secured, the boredom sets in. The biological imperative to find good genes doesn't just disappear because she turned 40. If she gets bored enough, or if she meets a silver fox alpha later in life, she might decide to cash out, and the system is rigged against you. Alimony, asset division. Child support. If you have kids, you spent 20 years building your wealth. She can take 50% of it in 20 minutes in a courtroom. She enters the marriage with debt and baggage. She leaves with a nest egg and your dignity. This is the Betabux trap. You are subsidizing a lifestyle for a woman who does not desire you, who resents your presence, and who holds the legal power to destroy you financially. The average man thinks, but if I love her enough, if I do enough chores, if I'm a good enough father, she will eventually love me back the way she loved the bad boy. No, you cannot negotiate desire. You cannot buy lust. You're pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You will run out of water before the bucket is full. The danger isn't that she will leave you immediately. The danger is that she will stay, drain your soul, drain your wallet, and then leave you when there is nothing left to take. Now, let's flip the board. Up until this point, the picture has been bleak. It seems like the average man is destined to be the victim, but that is only true if Mark remains asleep. If Mark wakes up and he realizes something terrifyingly powerful. He holds all the cards. This is the concept of SMV inversion, sexual marketplace value inversion. We discussed the wall for women. It is steep and unforgiving, but for men the wall is a myth, or at least it is very far away. While Rachel was partying in her 20s, burning through her value, Mark was building his. A man's value is not static, it is cumulative. His career capital grows, his emotional intelligence stabilizes, his network expands, his confidence solidifies. At 45, Mark is not old. In the eyes of the sexual marketplace, Mark is distinguished. He is an appreciating asset. Rachel is looking for a lifeboat because her ship is sinking. Mark is the captain of a luxury liner that is just leaving the port. Why does Mark win one? The leverage of options. Rachel's dating pool has shrunk to a puddle. She is competing with 25-year-olds for the attention of high-value men, a battle she cannot win biologically. Mark's dating pool has expanded into an ocean. He can date women his age. He can date women in their 30s. If he stays fit and successful, he can date women in their 20s. Biology is unfair, but in this phase, the unfairness works in your favour. 2. The leverage of solitude. Rachel fears being alone. The cat lady stereotype is a genuine psychological horror for her. Mark has learned to be alone. He thrived in the silence of his 20s. He has his hobbies, his mission, his peace. A man who is content in his solitude is invincible. You cannot negotiate with a man who is happy walking away. 3. The leverage of time. Rachel is fighting a biological clock that is ticking louder every second. Menopause is looming. The window to find a partner is closing. Mark has time. He can become a father at 50 if he chooses. He is in no rush, in any negotiation. The person who is in a rush loses. The tragedy is that most men like Mark don't realize this. They still see themselves as the beggars of their 20s. They don't look in the mirror and see the king they have become. They hand over their power to Rachel out of habit. But if Mark realizes his value, the dynamic shifts instantly. He stops trying to impress her. He stops accepting her rules. He realizes that he is the prize. Rachel needs Mark's resources and protection far more than Mark needs Rachel's validation. This isn't about revenge. It isn't about being cruel to Rachel. It is about market awareness. You have spent decades climbing the mountain. Do not let someone who took the helicopter down waiting for you at the summit convince you that you owe them a ride. You have the power. You just have to be willing to use the most powerful word in the male vocabulary, no. So, what is the prescription? Do I tell you to hate Rachel, to mock her, to become bitter? No. Bitterness is a sign of weakness. Anger is a sign that you still care. The true red pill is not hatred. It is indifference based on understanding. You must view this with the cold detachment of a scientist. Rachel is not evil. She is simply a biological organism responding to environmental pressure. She is doing what she must to survive. But you have a duty to yourself. You are not a rehabilitation centre for broken hearts. You are not a retirement plan for party girls who forgot to save for the winter. 1. Stop accepting maybe. If you are dating in your 40s, look for burning desire. If she is not enthusiastic, if she is not making effort, if she is not trying to fit into your life, walk away. The rule is simple. If it is not a hell yes, it is a no. Do not accept the role of the provider unless you are receiving the respect and passion of a king. 2. Focus on the mission, not the muse. Your value comes from your purpose or your fitness and baz, your bank account and your legacy. It does not come from a woman's approval. When you make a woman the center of your universe, you become unattractive. When you make your mission the center of your universe, you become magnetic. It is the ultimate irony of the sexual marketplace. The moment you stop needing her is the moment she starts wanting you. 3. Embrace the power of no. The most attractive thing a man can do is have standards. When she tries to change, you say no. When she tries to withhold intimacy, say no and mean it by leaving. When she tries to disrespect your time, say no. You have waited a long time to be in this position of power. Do not squander it. The world has lied to you. It told you that if you were a good boy, you would be rewarded. The truth is, the world does not reward nice guys. It rewards competent men. So, be competent, be dangerous, be select. Let the Rachels of the world find safety elsewhere. You are not building a shelter. You are building an empire. And in an empire, there is no room for tourists, only for those who are loyal to the crown, mind, before skin.